Hey y'all, it's Mandy, and I'm going to talk about my 15th week since starting Mounjaro. I didn't mention it in last week's video, but I had decided to skip my shot day last week. And one of the reasons that I didn't mention it is because I wasn't completely sure how long I was going to try to stretch it out before I took another shot. So I just decided to wait till after I had taken my next shot to share what the week was like. Okay, everything that I'm about to tell you, I started noticing around day 10 and 12. 10 to 12. So I thought that was pretty good. A pretty good length of time past the 7th day of my previous shot. Another thing that I always mention in my videos that I'm sure you're aware of by now, but just in case you're new here, I fumble over my words a lot. Sometimes I mispronounce things. And I'm okay with constructive criticism in the comments. Feel free to correct me or share your experience, whether it be the same or different in the comments. Just don't be mean. There ain't no sense in that, y'all. Okay, so moving along. Day 10, I noticed that my hot flashes had gotten really fierce. Like, they were bad. I was having them several, like every hour. And it wasn't until that day that I actually realized that my hot flashes, or the hot flashes, had improved since, I'm going to say, 5 milligram of Mounjaro. Probably like my third dose of 5 milligram. So right before I bumped up to 7.5. I was on 2.5 and 5 milligram for just one box, so 1 month each, and then I bumped up to 7.5. I don't think that was a mistake for me personally, but I was on Saxenda prior to Mounjaro, so I had already been on a shot. And so I actually lowered my dose when I started Mounjaro, because I started Mounjaro at the loading dose. 7.5 is where I've decided to just camp out for a while until it stops working. I didn't see a huge difference in much of anything on the 2.5 and the 5 milligrams. So I kind of figured 7.5 was going to be, my sweet spot, at least for a while, and I was right. So I have been in full-blown menopause for about a year. Perimenopause since my early to mid-30s. In the past year, hot flashes have been the thing that has gotten me the most with menopause. Well, that and the weight gain. That my iron is playing a big part on a lot of things that I'm feeling right now. There's one of those loud cold tracks I mentioned. But the hematologist can't see me until the 10th, so. And that was another reason that I decided to prolong the days between my shots, because I wasn't sure if it was the shot that was making me feel unusually tired, and turns out I don't think it's the shot at all. I really do think it's just time for an iron infusion, because I'm still feeling tired and I've already done my shot. So but anyway, I have been searching Google, YouTube, I even got on TikTok to try to see if I could find anything that anybody has said concerning hot flashes and GLP-1. And I've had no luck. The only thing that I can find concerning menopause and GLP-1 is the weight loss aspect, which is great because weight gain is pretty common for menopausal and perimenopausal women. I actually took some notes as I was reading up on this. I wrote down a few doctors' names just in case anybody would want to. Let me close this. Sorry about that. Check it out for yourselves. One doctor, her name is Dr. Alicia Robbins, and her practice actually specializes. She's a OBGYN. Specializes in perimenopause and menopausal women. She says that in your 40s, your hormones start to change and fluctuate, and there's an increase in muscle loss in your 30s and 40s, and you become more insulin resistant, which leads to usually weight gain in your tummy. Your body will distribute weight that you gain in different places. Like for me, for example, my stomach, just my midsection in general, has always been the place where I noticed weight gain first. But as I got older and entered perimenopause and menopause, I still had that weight gain in my belly, but I noticed like I was quicker to gain weight in my legs and arms, which the legs was somewhere that I never really gained weight. Even when I was heavier, at my heaviest, it was like my legs didn't look like they belonged on the same body, if it makes any sense. I felt like olive oil, kind of, but with a belly, like a pregnant olive oil. So, yeah, I can say that was true for myself as far as weight distribution goes. And she says that, like many other doctors say, that GLP-1s can be a good preventative medication. Wait a minute, something's not right here. Because it's also a common thing for women as we hit menopause to become more insulin resistant. So she says that GLP-1s can be a good preventive medication for all those things. Because, menopause does you've got the weight gain. 70% of women, according to Dr. Dawn, who's an obesity expert, says that 70% of women will experience that weight gain. But menopause also just conveniently, because of the hormone shift and loss, makes weight gain harder. So, yes. And he also goes on to talk about all the things that all of us probably know, whether we're in menopause or not. You'll have a difference in your moods, sleep disturbances, then the weight situation, and all of that. Appetite increase, cravings. So, yeah, you can check their two channels out here on YouTube and do your own research with that. I'm not an expert by any means. I'm just sharing with you what I have read and listened to on YouTube myself and my personal experience. Now, something else that I noticed, I actually noticed this pretty soon after starting Mounjaro, and I did mention it in one of my prior videos. I noticed that I wasn't retaining water as badly as I usually do. I'm kind of prone to water retention. I have been for, well, I guess I've kind of noticed it pretty much my entire adult life. Even when I cut back on sodium, whether that be table salt or just sodium that is already in foods naturally, I still would have some retention. Now, it would improve but it would still kind of be there, and I'm actually on medication for that. It's a very low dose, so I didn't want to go on anything, high, especially after having weight loss surgery, where getting in water with food can just, what's the word I'm looking for? It can be a little more challenging, okay? And as a weight loss surgery patient, especially in the early days, we're kind of encouraged to not consume food and water together because there's just not room in there for both. And so one of the main reasons why bariatric patients return to the hospital after surgery is dehydration. And so I kind of prioritized liquids over food because I was not trying to go back to the hospital, y'all. And I had my surgery in June of 2020, and we all know what that was like. So I was not trying to go back to the hospital and come back with something that I did not arrive with, if you know what I mean. And I just overall felt better with fluids over food. And I would see all these videos that other people who had gastric sleeve was doing on, what they were eating. And I just felt like I was eating more quantity, but not as much calories. And that's because I was eating like slider foods. Okay, if that makes sense. I was eating more snacky things, which is why I was eating more quantity, because my stomach, even now, just does not feel as good if I eat foods that are more dense. Like physically, I will feel better if I eat something that you all have seen me eat numerous times on these videos, like some crackers and some kind of dip, versus a piece of chicken. Now, I do eat chicken, but I feel better physically if I just have a handful of crackers and dip and go on about my day, versus a piece of chicken with, something on the side, like a salad or something. My stomach just feels worse with more nutrient dense chicken versus the crackers. And some days I'm going to say most days I choose the crackers because I just don't want to feel blah. And I'm finding that to be the same with the GLP-1, with Mounjaro. It really does, and I've said this multiple times too, mimic, especially those early days of post-gastric sleeve. I can attest to that. So the diuretic effect of the GLP-1, I didn't have to stop and start it, or start and stop it to notice that. I noticed that really early on, after starting Mounjaro, that I was less puffy. My hands felt and looked less swollen, as well as my legs and my feet, less bloat and all that. And so I was able to find one article that does say that GLP-1 can have a diuretic effect and a natriuretic effect. I'm probably saying that wrong, which leads me to, sometimes I mispronounce words, but I'll spell it for you so that you can look it up. It's natriuretic, which has to do with sodium levels in your urine and the way your body excretes it through your urinary tract, your urine, and your water loss. And that, I'm not going to go real far into what I read on that, because again, I'll probably say something wrong, and because I'm not an expert, but it has to do with how your body holds on to or excretes sodium, and it's in connection with your heart. I've also said in some other videos that I'm really sensitive to sodium, And so that article that I read just kind of confirmed, what I found to be true with myself. Because when I skipped that dose, just as quickly as I noticed an improvement in water retention, I noticed that I was feeling puffy. I probably noticed that actually before day 10. Now I'm thinking about it, but I just kind of took a note on day 10 and day 12, so that's what I'm just going to roll with. But the water retention, and just, I probably felt it before I could see it in the mirror or in my hands and things. Like even today, like it's been, oh well, I just took my shot yesterday. So yeah, my hands do still look a little puffy, but I'm sure that just like in the beginning, within the next day or so, I'll see an improvement. But I could tell that my face just felt puffy without even looking in the mirror. I could just feel it, and the tingling sensation that I always get from like my knees down when I am retaining some water, that was back, and I'm still having that today. But again, I'm sure that it will be gone probably tomorrow, because that's how quick I noticed it improved with Mounjaro in the beginning. But again, I will report back for sure on that next week. Increase in appetite and actual hunger. I noticed that around day 10. Cravings. I wrote down, that's what I wrote down on day 12. I was having some cravings for, well, something sweet. And as you'll see, if you stay tuned till the end of this video, I did have a piece of chocolate this week. I had a piece of dark chocolate, which I have done, occasionally this entire journey. If I want a piece of candy, I will have a piece of candy, but it's one of the little mini size, and I put it away out of sight. Now, I'm not one of those people that can just leave it laying on the counter and walk away. Somebody's calling me. No, messaging me. That's my daughter. I'll text her back. Just on any given day. Now, when I am on top of my Mounjaro and not, seeing how long I can prolong my dose, there could be a candy bar laying there, and I not even think twice about it. And that's one of the great things about me, Mounjaro, and menopause, is it really has helped with the menopause cravings. And I say that they're menopause cravings because I'm not one that just eats or wants sweets naturally. Now years ago, I did. I developed a really mean sweet tooth when I was pregnant with my second daughter. I craved sweets when I was pregnant with her, and after I had her, I just didn't try to change it, and I just continued with the sweets, and the more I ate them, the more I craved them. And so I broke myself of that habit, lost a bunch of weight back then, kept it off for a while, and then I gained it back. And then I gained more back after menopause, and that's where GLP-1s came in to my life. Thank God. Oh, well, I left that weight loss surgery, y'all. Weight loss surgery, gastric sleeve has, I don't ever want to be one of those people that leave that out of the mix, because it is a huge part of my success in this weight loss journey that I've taken, and I don't ever want to leave that out when I talk about GLP-1. And I also discovered that the number of bariatric patients who are now on a GLP-1, and the doctors that are, I don't want to say pushing it, but, saying that it is actually a good tool to incorporate, the number of those doctors is on the rise as well. I just think that more people are seeing benefits in conjunction with other things and for other things, the more or the longer that GLP-1s are, on the scene, so to speak. They've been around for a long time, just not in social media. So the rise is, thanks to social media, I'm sure. But anyway, that was one of those rabbit trails that I'm known to do. Or not really rabbit trail, just get off track and then get back on track. And, well, yeah. Duh. That is a rabbit trail, ain't it? Y'all look over me. My brain is just foggy today for whatever reason. That's probably the iron too. So y'all just look over me. Bear with me. We'll get through this video. So yeah, I went 14 days between my shots. So yesterday was Sunday, June the 2nd, and I took my shot, gave it to myself in the right side of my belly. Today I'm not really having any thoughts about food, so that kicked in pretty quick. But now again, it's not like this, I'm just starting it. I've been on it I started it 16 weeks ago. So just missing one dose is not going to be, for me anyway, does not feel like me starting over. But I do think that I'm going to say like 10 days will be the max that I'm going to try to stretch it out this time. Just because I kind of want to stay ahead of those hot flashes. Y'all, that was wild. It was just like, and it was just in just one day. It wasn't like I had a hot flash on day 9 and then had another one an hour later and then not any the rest of the day. It was like day 10. It was like the gates of hell opened and said, come on in. It was like that. It was just sudden. And you talk about a mental game that day too. I was about to lose my damn mind, y'all. Which brought on some changes in my mood. So, hubby was at work, thank God, for his sake. So let's go ahead and jump into the numbers and what prolonging my shot, skipping a week, did on that front. Okay. So my highest weight ever was 259.2, and that was before gastric sleeve. The day that I had my surgery, June of 2020, I weighed in on the hospital scale that morning at 250. And when I started GLP-1s, between that surgery day and the start of GLP-1, I had a tummy tuck, which is not a weight loss surgery at all, but some people do experience a little weight loss just in the poundage of the skin that they removed, really. So nothing major, but I actually experienced a weight gain after my tummy tuck because my body can never do or experience just one thing at a time. It decided, let's just go ahead and go into menopause while you're dealing with all this and the recovery and all that. So I experienced about a 20-pound weight gain due to not being able to exercise and not making the best food choices while not being as mobile, and then add in menopause to the mix. So hence the 20 pounds. When I started the GLP-1, I got on the scale that morning. I am a daily weigher. I weighed in at 199.9. And I looked at that scale and I said, this was my words. If you don't know already, I do cuss. Nana cusses. I try to keep it as respectful on here as I can, but in real life, like, I'm known to drop a few F-bombs a day. Just gonna be honest, but I try not to do that on here. Just out of respect for others. Not because I'm trying to be fake or anything like that, but anyway. I looked at the scale, and I said, oh, hell no. So I went and seen my doctor that day as a walk-in, and I was like, look, girl, who is also a family friend, I was like, I need something for, this weight gain. I'm just under 200 by the skin of my teeth, literally just the upper lip skin. And I've worked too hard, done too much to gain this weight back. And I said, I want to stay in Wonderland, even if it's just by the skin of my teeth, and just kind of nip this and get this weight gain back off. So that day I was mostly bugged about the 20-pound weight gain. And overall, for quite some time, I have been bugged that no matter what I did, I felt like I couldn't get out of the 180s. GLP-1s helped me to do that. Helped me get that regain off and get lower than the 180s, which I really thought was like my body's set point. So they say, a lot of people say that it's impossible to go beyond your set point. Others say that it's not impossible, it's just really, really hard. So for me, it was just really, really hard. I knew that it wasn't impossible. I've never been, on that side of the set point weight. I just knew that it was just going to be harder than the usual weight gain, which was already really hard. So the day I started Saxenda, which was the first shot that I'm on, which is specifically for weight loss, I was 199.9. And then my insurance just suddenly decided they didn't want to approve me for that anymore, because they said that I hadn't lost, it was a crazy low number, like 5% of my body weight. So I was just like, I kind of got, I don't know, left on red, as they say, but it was a phone call, because I just pointed out that somebody at that insurance office couldn't do basic math, because they said I hadn't lost 5% of my body weight when I'd actually lost 20 pounds. And when I asked the woman, I was like, how much do you think I weighed? And this was my exact question. I said, how much do you think I weighed when I started Saxenda? If you don't think that 20 pounds is 5% of my body weight, and better yet, who was your math teacher? I want to give them a call. She put me on hold and never came back. But I was like, yeah, I'd be a little embarrassed to come back to that call too. But anyway, when I started Mounjaro, after they said, we just don't want to give you the Saxenda anymore, pretty much. When I started Mounjaro, I weighed 177. So the Saxenda actually got me back to my tummy tuck weight. The day I had my tummy tuck, I weighed 177. So the Saxenda helped me get the regain off. Since starting Mounjaro, after, they said no more Saxenda, I weighed 177 when I started that. So I went below that set point that I mentioned, that my body was just kind of loving the 180s. The Saxenda helped me get that 20 pounds off and get below that, what I thought was my set point, is what I should have said. So I started it at 177. Last week, I weighed 155.6, and that was the day that I did not take a shot. And before I tell you what I weighed this week, let's go over my total losses. Since starting this journey from my high weight, and this number is going to be different, and it's not going to take you long to figure out why, I'm down 101 pounds, and let's see, 101.8. Since surgery day, I'm down 92.6. Since starting a GLP-1, I'm down 42.5. Since starting Mounjaro, I'm down 19.6. And those numbers are different than the last video, because since last week, I'm up 1.8 pounds. Those numbers still don't sound right. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it would be. The main thing is my starting weight and this week. So I gained 1.8 pounds. Now, when I seen that I gained weight, I was, at first, I'm not even going to lie to y'all, I was like, which is something that I try not to do over the scale. And I know if you've seen any of my videos, you've heard me say that if the scale freaks you out, stay off of it. I've been a daily weigher for quite some time, mostly because I got into the habit of it when me and my doctor were kind of tracking that water retention that I talked about. And I just got into the habit of it and just continued to do it for whatever reason. I don't know why, I just did. But then after that initial, I remembered, I was like, no girl, this scale, you refuse to let it freak you out, remember? But I kind of thought back to some of the things that I ate this week, which are higher in sodium, higher in salt. And so I was like, okay, there's no way even, I mean, I knew, but I just kind of needed to remind myself, I did not gain almost 2 pounds of fat in a week's time. Like, if you don't know, 1 pound is, they say is, and this is just estimated numbers, of course, is the equivalent of 3,500 calories. So no way did I eat an excess of 7,000 calories, which would be that 2 pounds, in a week's time. No way. And I doubt that I even, honestly, in 7 days, even ate 7,000 calories, period, let alone, went above, my maintenance calories, which is what causes a weight gain, is if you eat above and beyond your maintenance calories, and eating below that is how you lose weight. So I'm sure everybody knows that, but I'm just trying to put it into perspective as to how, my brain had to regroup. And I was like, no, there's no way that's not fat. And so then I thought about, okay, I enjoyed some pretzels this week. Something that I had actually stopped eating a while back because of the increased fluid retention. But I just wanted something different. I usually reach for crackers, which are the ones that I eat are lower in sodium. There was one day that I ate a few saltines just because I woke up really nauseous and needed something on my stomach before I took all my morning vitamins and medications, because if I wake up and I'm already feeling nauseous, I know that all those pills are going to make it worse. So I will eat a few crackers. One day, out of 20, it might be a few saltines, but it's just really rare that I even grab those. But I just wanted something different. So, and I love pretzels. I just quit eating them as often as I used to because of that water retention thing that I struggle with. So I didn't intentionally pick this week, that I skipped the shot to grab the pretzels. It just so happened that I did. So I've been eating those with some honey mustard. I've had those almost every evening in the last week. And even though I seen that jump on the scale and I know that it's just fluid retention, because I weighed myself this morning, and spoiler alert, I'm already back down. Because what did I do yesterday? Oh, I skipped the pretzels yesterday. Again, that brain fog. And I did make sure I drank, I think, 1.5 more bottles of my water than I usually drink. And so that kind of helped flush the fluid out. Now I do feel like I still have some going on today, like I said, but I know that it is the fluid retention, so I also know that just like I was up all night pissing, I'll pee more today than usual too because of that, which is fine. But yeah, there's no way that was like a gain of fat or muscle. You don't gain muscle that quick either. When people are new to weightlifting and working out, you may see an initial jump on the scale, but it's inflammation. Just when your body's, being introduced to something new, a new activity, that's kind of common. Not everybody experiences that, but it's normal. But I knew all of these things even when I had that moment. It just took me a second to kind of regroup, because initially I was like, I'll have to stay on this shot my whole life. And then I realized, like, well, yeah, I'm actually on the one for the diabetes now, and I probably will be on it my whole life because I am type 2 diabetic. So it just took me a second to kind of regroup, and I'm like, we're not doing Saxenda, we're doing the medication for the type 2, and I did exactly what I kind of trained myself not to do. I just had a lapse for just a second, and it took me a minute to regroup, that's all. And so I'm regrouped, and I gained almost 2 pounds in a week. Such is life. It happens. Our weight just naturally and just normally is going to fluctuate anyway. And so that is another reason why I can't stress enough, if you haven't been taking notes on your journey, it's not too late to go ahead and start now. If nothing else, just kind of track how your body reacts to different foods. As I've gotten older, my body reacts differently to different things. My body now reacts differently to different things from being on a GLP-1 and after gastric sleeve. It seems like it's changing all the time for me, and it could be the same for other people. I don't know if it's just a me thing, but nevertheless, that's been my experience with all the things. And it just reminded me, too, of just how important staying on top of my water is. Especially since GLP-1, since I read that it, and I'm now aware, and it wasn't just, me wondering if it was a coincidence, that it can be a diuretic. It means that I need to, and we all should be prioritizing our water intake to avoid dehydration. So, that's something that can make you feel pretty shitty, just in and itself, is dehydration. That can lead to just fatigue, feeling lethargic, and it could land you at the ER, hooked up to an IV bag. And I don't know about you, but I can think of a lot of other things I'd rather be doing than posted up at the hospital, getting fluids that I should have just drank. So, okay, so another stop and restart, because I was just rambling way too much. Guys, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd appreciate if you go ahead and do that. Again, I promise you I'm not high. I'm just really, really tired and got brain fog today. Not saying that if that's something you do, there's anything wrong with it. Again, like all things, do you. But I'm probably just going to jump off of here and take a well-deserved and needed nap at this point, okay? So, again, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done that already. Give this video a thumbs up. It really helps out my channel, and I will see you guys in a week, and I'll probably pop in midweek with some kind of short. Probably, maybe, we'll see. But I'll definitely see you guys in a week. And I don't know if Monday will be my new update day. I'm still trying to figure this out with the new schedule with the grandkids, and given that it is RV season now, and we are gone most weekends at the RV on Sundays, and we have a camper full of kids usually during the summer, and so Sundays I do think are going to be kind of hard for me to continue updating. Today is Monday, and I'm not even sure if this day is going to work out, because there will be some Mondays that I have two of my grandkids, so we'll see about the day. But I will know by next week what my definite update day will be, but shot day will definitely still remain to be on Sundays. So I will see you guys in a week.